Welcome to the Virtual Ball Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend Matt.
Do you think that what do you think Mr. Monopoly's deal is?
Like in terms of like, what business he runs?
How often he money launders?
Plenty. That's
Plenty,
a given.
Yeah.
I think that is just like when you see him and you're like, that is the symbol for laundering, right there. I think he money launders a lot.
Now, how would you consider his relationship with Mr. Peanut? Are they the same person? Is it an original character type thing?
I think are
they friends?
I think it's his food sona.
His food soda? Okay.
I don't know if that's the right terminology.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I went with original character.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah, I think that because I feel like I think he realizes that he is the symbol of money laundering, and I think that he was like, you know what? How do I appeal to mass audiences? And therefore, I'm gonna get into a giant nut suit and walk around as Mr. Peanut.
Yeah,
and that will appeal to me, and then I'll have a massive Super Bowl commercial about me dying, and then being reborn as a baby nut, and therefore profit more money laundering comes.
I don't like this intro anymore. We brought a baby nut into the chat. We gotta scrap it. Scrap it.
We've come back around on that.
Back around. Baby nut happened in 2020, Chris. Like, it was right before all the shit.
That's stupid. That is stupid of how long ago that is already. That felt like last year.
It happened. It happened like the same weekend Kobe died. Like,
oh, fuck. Gee, yeah. Man, the scar cuts deep on the fact that I still feel the pain of baby nut existing in our lives. Man, can't wait for the Super Bowl. Anyways, welcome everybody to another edition of the Virtual Ball Boys. We're collecting balls.
We play balls.
I don't know if we play balls. I mean, that's kind of our slogan is that we just love talking about a game that we're never gonna fucking ever play because goddamn that the shit's dangerous.
Yeah. But
we like collecting the balls and they just collect them all, collect the balls. Anyways, we are here to talk about Week 6. In the NFL, we're gonna predict Week 7 in the NFL, and we're also gonna talk about some coaching. We talk a lot about players. We don't avoid talking about coaching, but we I think it's kind of an interesting topic now that we are 6 weeks into this season to maybe talk about who should be a little worried. A little worried about the things that are going on with them, with their team, thinking that maybe they need to perform a little better, otherwise they might be booted. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about the ones who are safe, of course, as well, the ones who have probably secured their job, at least for now. But for now, let's talk about Week 6. A chaotic week. Team Chaos reigned supreme during Week 6 to the point that we have two major upsets to talk about. I only assigned one to the Chaos role. I gave the other nod to the Game of the Week this week.
Ooh.
So I chose for the Game of the Week to give it to the New York Jets, who have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles after a rough start to the season, no doubt. It's been as rough as it can be. The Jets fans have seen they went from maybe being like, oh man, this team could go to a Super Bowl, and then like literally 2 plays into the season being like, oh man, I really hope we get 5 wins. But then they somehow miraculously beat the Bills. Then it gets worse for them, and they go on a 3-game losing streak, and it just looks bad for them. Last 2 games, though, not too bad. Beat the Broncos, Breece Hall kind of carrying the team on his back. And yeah, the offense could have played better against the Eagles overall, but their defense is really what has been the big reason why they won that game against a Philly team that was undefeated going into this game. They also the Eagles have been undefeated against the Jets all time. They have never
really.
The Jets have never beaten the Eagles.
That's incredible.
Until Sunday. I mean, granted, it was only like 13 meetings before this,
Still.
so they don't meet a lot. But yeah, that's kind of
they're teams that have been in the NFL for a while. Like,
I actually like. It probably would be very. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be that hard. It's probably pretty easy to look up, but I'm like, I wonder how many of that is that kind of record is still existing.
Yeah,
because Eagles and Jets are like it would not surprise me if like the Texans have like a team that they've never been in, or like the Panthers, the Jaguars, and Ravens, because those are all newer franchises. But like the Eagles and Jets have both been around at least since like the 60s, 70s. Like they've been around for a long time. So yeah. But anyways, what do you think? Like this was a great win for the Jets.
Absolutely, and I really think that like myself included, really just like as soon as Aaron Rodgers was out, we were all out on the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they still have a good defense, even when their top secondary isn't in.
They were injured. I forgot about that too.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner did not play. Like they still had great performance. I think this Jets team is probably not Super Bowl bound still.
No, I
but
don't think so.
You can't be upset with how the Jets season is going if you're a Jets fan.
No, I think they're competitive, and that's what matters. And I like, obviously, you know, it would be more interesting if they had a better quarterback overall. But I mean, Zach Wilson has been playing a little bit better in the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. He's not been like amazing, but like starting with that Chiefs game, it feels like he's kind of getting back into the groove a little bit. But yeah, it's still not a great situation overall. But I mean, like, I would not be surprised if this Jets team is sitting at 7-8 wins near the end of the year. And if it's even more than that, then that's a testament to the defense, to the coaching staff. Like, they're in a good situation. Are you worried at all about the Eagles?
I worry about their Super Bowl chances, but I think that they'll still be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting start for their offense.
Yeah.
Certainly. They've definitely not been at their peak of like what last year felt like. But they still have such a great group of players playing, and I definitely think this is a team that should easily get to the playoffs, even if it's in a wild card capacity. And I mean, they probably will still win the division, but I mean, Cowboys got a win this past week. Commanders are only a couple games behind them too, so maybe that race gets a little tight for them, but we'll see. The blowout of the week, there wasn't really like a substantial blowout, unlike the past few weeks. This one once again goes to the Dolphins, who took care of business against the Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers started out being 14-0, and yet the Dolphins were able to turn it around rather quickly. Poor Carolina.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah. I forgot about the early on. I was just like, wow, the Panthers are beating the Dolphins, and then it was just like, oh no, that didn't last long. But hey, yeah, here's the interesting thing about the Panthers though. They are there. So there have been reports, and I think we might have talked about this last week. I'm not sure.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah. Where it was, they were talking about the fact that they were considering C.J. Stroud instead of Bryce Young, and then the ownership stepped in and chose Bryce Young. So what happened was that the head coach now Frank Reich has given the play calling duties to Thomas Brown, their offensive coordinator, and Thomas Brown supposedly it sounds like he will say whatever, obviously, to make it not sound like it's bad there, but he's making it sound like he did like Bryce Young the most out of who was there, and maybe he has some sort of game plan. He has been Thomas Brown is actually a name I feel like I've heard about for a while. I believe he was with the Rams for a while. He might be the one that could help unlock Bryce Young eventually. So we'll see. I mean, I obviously I don't think the Panthers are in any way going to turn things completely around here, but
no,
if they can get some wins just to kind of and get Bryce Young to a point where he's kind of playing a little bit better, I mean, this won't be a complete loss for the Carolina Panthers this year, I don't think. Just get out of a rough hole and maybe just get some promising results, and you'll be okay. Dolphins continue to reign supreme. Sunday Night Football, Eagles-Dolphins. Coming up soon here. And now let's talk about the chaos of the week, which was the other big upset. The Cleveland Browns took care of business against the 49ers. Matt, it's as if the Browns did not need to have a major quarterback trade to actually have their team be good.
Yeah, you'd think that, developing a really strong defense and at least just having an average quarterback that won't actively lose you games is actually pretty helpful for an NFL team.
Yeah.
Case in point, the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this was a mix of a lot of things. Obviously, San Francisco, both Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey were out. Were out of the game at one point due to injury, and my fantasy team is fucking panicking.
Meaning you are panicking.
Meaning I am panicking.
Okay.
But they'll be back if
sure.
Both of those two are actually potentially playing Monday night.
That's wild.
How unserious these injuries are. And if they don't, they'll be back the week after. It'll all be fine.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. This was also Brock Purdy's first regular season loss.
That's wild.
Which is also wild. And it was in a game where the weather was shit, all of his offensive players were out, and he still got them into field goal range. The kicker just missed the field goal, which I'm blaming the weather. I'm not blaming the kicker there on that at all. I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, rookie kicker." The weather was shit.
It was a rough game, rough situation.
Yeah. It just it happens. You gotta lose at some point,
Yeah.
And I don't think this is any condemnation on Brock Purdy at all. He played well. The Browns' defense is just really fucking good.
The Browns' defense is very good.
It's a very good defense.
And I think that, going into the season, I think that was the thing that we were worried about, in the sense of just oh man, this is going to be a good team now, and Deshaun Watson's going to get credit. Here's the thing, though. He may not get the credit.
No, because he's consistently playing like dog do.
Yeah.
And now it's he's been out with an injury that everyone's saying that he's faking.
Imagine. Oh my god. I am hopeful. I'm going to be rooting the hardest for PJ Walker to succeed. And
if PJ Walker succeeds and plays better than Deshaun Watson, game after game, that would be the funniest fucking outcome.
It would be the most. We're on the precipice of the funniest, the most comedic thing.
Yes,
happening to the Browns.
Trading your soul away for a really shitty person.
Yeah.
To not help your football team, and then replacing him with the fucking prize, the prize of the XFL.
Hey! I mean, wasn't it PJ Walker who had that insane throw? There was an incredible throw last year by a Panthers quarterback in the Falcons
I think that was
game.
PJ Walker, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he has it in him. I mean I know
he does for sure.
I know he didn't have this incredible game. It was a 19-14 game. It was low scoring, but I don't know. Yeah, I am hopeful to keep on seeing the Browns start PJ Walker, and that would make me okay with rooting somewhat for the Browns. If
Watson's not the quarterback, I will be a Browns fan.
Right, yeah, I'll go along with this situation, because it is a very incredible defense that they've had through 6 weeks. By the way, a couple of things. Eagles signed wide receiver Julio Jones.
Offense is fixed. No problems.
That's kind of nuts. I mean, I don't know how well that's going to go over for them, but like, that's kind of insane that Jones is still going. And then the other thing I just want to say, and we'll just brush on it quickly, and I'll drop out of it. There is this very small part of me that kind of wishes that Aaron Rodgers was still starting and playing.
Because, I get it.
Goddamn, this man literally goes on the Pat McAfee show and is like, "Hey, Travis Kelce, debate me," like a fucking, like, just the worst
Twitter user.
People. Yeah, the worst fucking human being.
Spend so much time in their basement.
I can't. Like, I'm just and he's being paid millions to go on that show too, and I'm just like,
oh yeah.
You know what? I'd rather him play quarterback. I just get healthy, use your dolphin fuck noises, and just go and get back onto the field, please. I can't stand this man at all. Anyways,
speaking of New York football teams, it's time for the go fuck yourself game of the week.
Oh yeah.
Stop putting the Giants on fucking prime time.
I think this was the last one.
Thank God. 4 primetime games in the first 6 weeks. This is the first time in NFL history that has ever happened.
Yeah, no.
Where a team has had 4 primetime games in the first 6 weeks.
It's
because they had
insane.
A pretty good year last year. Stop putting the Giants in prime time. No one wants to see this shit.
Oh wait, no, there is one more, but it's like it's like December 11th. But I mean, I think the flex rules are in place, so they might be able to change the Monday night game by like week 13, which they should, because it's also against the Packers, who are not necessarily that like amazing either. So yeah, it's been rough. It's been a rough go of it. All right, let's go ahead and go. Let's talk about the coaches.
Let's do that.
I was trying to think of a couple of themes for this segment. I initially was like, oh, it's the coaching circus. So we're gonna talk about the ones who are still like the main events, the sideshow acts that might be disposable, and the ones that are being fired out of a cannon. That was the initial idea, but I'm just like, I don't know. I kind of like fuck circuses to a certain extent. So I'm just gonna lean into the carousel thing. Of like, okay. Hey, so you have the I guess, is being on the carousel a good or bad thing?
So I mean, the carousel is the, I think a carousel would have to apply to a specific team that is experiencing a huge changeover. So if a team, the quarterback carousel, Carolina and Washington are quarterback carousels, right?
Yeah.
In Indianapolis for a while. Might still be.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Indianapolis, I mean, Shane Steichen.
Richardson got off, and for a little bit, Gardner Minshew is going to get his turn, and then Richardson will go back on, but next season.
Well, yeah. I don't know if Richardson's coming back this year, unfortunately.
No, that's why next season.
Yeah, but I mean. That's fair, and I guess it's like, so I guess it's like each individual carousel. So like, all right, so we're basically gonna be like, is there a carousel? Will it carousel?
We will look at the coaches and say, I don't think I think the carousel metaphor isn't a good one here.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go through the ones who we think are safe, and let's focus on the AFC for now.
Okay.
I'll start with the AFC North. Zach Taylor. Safe.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah, the only thing I could see going really south is if they just keep losing and they keep going. Like, that is the only situation where I'm like, maybe, but like the Bengals have also, like, we forget about like the Marvin Lewis years, how many years he kind of just went without being fired. He also went to the playoffs a lot, so we'll see.
We're already seeing a turnaround for the Bengals. I think he's locked in.
John Harbaugh for the Ravens.
Staying.
I think so. I would be surprised. Mike Tomlin staying. He is such a staple, and he is the biggest reason why the roster stays competitive even when everything else is shit. So
he should fire Matt Canada. But...
He should. No, there's like a mini carousel. It's like one of those like really like the small ones where you put the toddlers on. But
it's one that Steelers fans want to ride because they don't want. They don't want Matt Canada there anymore.
Right. Exactly. And then Kevin Stefanski. So this is an interesting one because I feel like you could go either way with this. This has been a very hopeful start for the year for the Browns. They are 3-2. But the biggest reason why they have been so successful is their defense. They have not fixed Deshaun Watson. They have not done enough on the offensive side to really have a lot of hope. That said, there's also the running game did play a factor in their win, and they're playing well enough without Nick Chubb after he went down. So I mean, it's just like you just need to keep it going because he is. I think this is either his third or fourth year. Yeah. Like there needs to be a lot more. Like you need to keep on having these dominant wins going forward because otherwise, I think he's kind of like I don't think he's on the hot seat. I think he's maybe like teetering. He needs to keep winning.
If he doesn't win this year, he'll be on the hot seat next year.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yep.
Jaguars. Let's go to the AFC South now. Jaguars. Doug Peterson.
He's staying.
I think he's safe for now.
Yeah.
Titans. Mike Vrabel.
It depends on how many games they win. I think because this is not like. Here's the thing. I think that Mike Vrabel is a really talented head coach, and I think that the organization will recognize that. The roster is not good right now.
Yeah,
and the roster is what's holding them back, not necessarily Vrabel.
Have they fired their general manager? Was it that last year that they fired the general manager? I forget when that happened. If that was last year or the year before. It's been a bit. John Robinson was the old GM. I forget who got hired.
Last season.
It was last season. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're kind of in the middle of like a weird rebuild situation. So I don't know. I think Mike Vrabel has kind of proven himself to be a good enough head coach where if you do end up bottoming out for the rest of the year and like I don't think it's a guarantee slam dunk that he gets fired.
Yeah, and I feel I would trust him to rebuild my team.
Right, that's the thing.
It's very clear in my opinion that the roster just isn't good, and if you give him a good roster and help him rebuild it, it'll be great. It'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. Colts, Shane Steichen, first year.
I think Colts and Texans, both rookie head coaches, are both getting a second year.
Yeah, they there's been enough promising stuff that they should not get let go. Although it's the Texans, so
it is the Texans. However, they're actually winning games. So
maybe
I think it'll be good.
Yeah,
I think that a head coach has to be fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
To lose their job after 1 year.
Yeah, but I don't think either Lovie Smith or the guy before it
Romeo.
Romeo Cornell was a
Romeo Cornell.
I think he was an intern guy.
Wasn't he right before Lovie though?
There is a guy before Lovie that was not. It was not Romeo Cornell. It was like a guy that was hired from the Ravens, and it was I'm gonna forget his name. He was like a long time coach, and he got the hire out of nowhere. I just gonna forget what his name was. Anyways,
David Culley. There you
go.
Just look it up. Yep.
You're right though. Those two did have really bad losing seasons, but they did have those promising moments where you're like, okay, it was a bad year. You could move on with a guy with this second year in. This year it is different, where it's like. You're 3-2, I believe, through the 5 or 6 weeks, or 3-3. Like you have you've shown that you have a guy that seems like the franchise guy at this point with CJ Stroud, and you do have a defense that's playing pretty decently. Like you have things that are really hopeful about this team. If this team could get to 7 wins, D'Amico Ryans should not at all be considered on the brink.
No, and I don't think he will be.
Yeah. All right, AFC East, the Bills. Nah.
Nope.
Sean McDermott's safe, I think.
Yep.
Barring like a losing record, but man, I don't know. I think they really like him.
I think they just extended him too. So
yeah. Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins, no way. I think at this point there is too much good there. I know that they were antsy about wanting to like replace him with someone like last year. Weirdly, I think because of Sean Payton was available. Boy, they dodged a bullet. I think.
Oh, thank God.
The Patriots and Bill Belichick.
I think that Bill Belichick, this will be his last year coaching. I think he will. Yeah. They will give him the respect to let him finish the year. Unless he wants to call it quits early because he's getting embarrassed on a daily basis that much, on a weekly basis.
I think that is the only. I think that is like. I think Robert Kraft is definitely pissed off about the situation enough where he could fire Belichick midseason, but that would be a stunning move to do to a guy that has been part of the organization. And such a
yeah.
I mean, considered one of the best coaches of all time, won 6 Super Bowls there. Like, that would be such a slap in the face on the way out if you got rid of him during the year. But unless Robert Kraft is crazy enough to be like, I still think that this team has enough talent that they could get better if we get rid of Belichick, but I don't know about that, man.
No, this team does not have talent, really.
That's the thing.
That's the problem.
That's the thing. It's just like yeah, we could question. I mean, and the problem with the lack of talent is because of Belichick, because he's like the main like
also
roster
the GM,
right? But like I don't know. I think it would be smart of them to just ride this season out, get a high draft pick, and call it quits. Like at that point, like but I agree with you. I'm like, this should be an end of the year firing, barring any major changes. And then you have the Jets with Robert Saleh, and I think if they start to really bottom out, I think he gets fired. But if they keep the competitiveness that they've had going, and they can at least get to 9 wins or 8 wins, 9 wins, I think they keep him around.
Chance. Yeah, I agree.
And then AFC West, Andy Reid,
gone.
Gone. right. Yeah, now he's gone. Yeah, no, we got rid of him. No, he's all right.
He'll stay.
Brandon Staley and the Chargers,
gone. Even if they have a winning season, he's gone. Like, holy shit, is he just like just one of the most head up his ass head coaches? That you have such a talented roster and you're investing so much into this team that your team should not be losing as many games as it is.
I think the only way that he keeps his job is if they win a playoff game. And at this point, they may not even make the playoffs.
There is a clause in the Iowa head coach's contract where he has to like reach a minimum points per game in order to keep his job this year. University of Iowa.
Okay.
And the University of Iowa is so good defensively that they have a non-zero chance to potentially like make it into the college football playoffs, and he could still lose his job.
I mean, I mean, when you're Iowa and you have been living off of defense first and offense way lower on the priority list, yeah, I guess you kind of need those clauses to be there to kind of spark anything. All right.
That's how I feel about Staley.
Yeah. I agree though. I think it's like you need to win a playoff game because you have proven time and time again to be one of the more incompetent head coaches in terms of any sort of play calling and clock management and stuff like that. Which brings us to Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels of the Raiders, who I think at this point, like, look, I will say this: they are on the cusp of potentially having a 3-game winning streak, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But That said, I'm like, you really need to have like a really good year. I think you need to make the playoffs, because I think everyone sees it. Everyone sees that this team is just not believing in this guy, and is also just we all see the just insane decisions he is making. He's worse than Staley in some ways.
Horrible play calling.
It's been brutal. So yeah, I think he's on the brink. Broncos, Sean Payton.
I think that they need to give him another year simply because of the trade that they had to make for him.
I agree.
I would fire him.
I would give him
and I would put Pete Carroll and Drew Brees in the Hall of Fame immediately.
I would keep him around for the comedic value. That's kind of where I'm at. It
all comes back to Kevin James, Chris.
It does. You know what? Can I just tell you, like, the more we get away from that film, I'm like, man, Kevin James was the perfect casting choice for Sean Payton.
It is nuts.
The first brush of it was just like, wait, what? Kevin James? That's so weird. One of the best coaches that we've seen with the Saints. That seems very weird choice to have Kevin James play him in a comedy. And it's just like, nope, it makes complete fucking sense. It completely makes sense given what we know now. Chance, who knows? Like, I think that
the Broncos are already fucked. They're even more fucked if Sean Payton is not coaching them at least next year.
Yeah, they need another year of him being serious. Like they need to have another year of him. They need to get better talent in their building, because ultimately, like, this team that we thought was filled with talent, that was going to be playing well, it's just not there. No one's playing at the level that they should be, maybe with the exception of Patrick Surtain, and even then he's going to be a great trade candidate for them at the deadline. Like,
oh yeah,
like, so it's just like it's not been great. All right, let's go to the NFC North. Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings, second year, maybe.
I think the Vikings are not in a good spot. I think he might still get another chance.
I think the Vikings have been in a situation of wanting to rebuild. I think that they have this new GM. They have the head coach that is in his second year. And I think the Vikings are kind of doing what the Giants wanted to do and are failing at doing, where they had like this first year where it was incredible 13-3, what the fuck, no, or 13-4, whatever it was, like incredible season that no one saw coming, even though we all kind of also saw through it in a way. This second go through, I'm like, I think it's okay, the idea of this team, if this team tanks, I think they do go one more year with this group, get better on the roster a little bit, build around Justin Jefferson mainly, and keep him healthy too. Like, don't rush him back this year. Who knows if they keep Cousins? They might keep Cousins. They might go with a rookie quarterback. Who knows? But like, I think you're totally okay with the idea of just going through the rest of this year. Let this season play out as it may. Maybe get a high draft pick and go. I mean, they're playing well. They're playing enough well where they're not going to be a trash fire like the Giants. I keep on pointing to them because the two teams are very similar to me. But like they're playing, they're 2-4, but like they're playing enough where like they're going to remain competitive through, I think, a lot of their games. And so we'll see how it goes. The Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell, I think he's safe. This
might win Coach of the Year. Like,
yeah,
doing good things in the Motor City.
I'd hope, like, if we get to a situation where Dan Campbell gets fired at the end of the year, that means things went really, really south, really, really fast, and that would suck. So I'm hoping that this is a safe situation. The Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur.
He's safe.
I think so too.
He's done a really great job there. I do think that it's a this might be a little bit of a down year, but Jordan Love growing pains. They're gonna happen.
Yeah. Yep.
He'll be safe.
Yeah, I agree. Bears, Matt
Eberflus. Gone. Yeah. Get him out of here. I am scarred. And I know that Luke Getsy's calling plays, get him out too. But my least favorite play in all of football is the wide receiver screen.
Mm-hmm.
And he called 3 in a row. Maybe this time it'll work. Never does. I will never watch the Bears do a wide receiver screen that doesn't end at the line of scrimmage.
It's rough.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's the worst play in football.
I'm with you. I think I think it was an encouraging sign that you had the Thursday night win, but I think what you got with Justin Fields in terms of how he played in that game was really reassuring. I think that there is now going to be some kind of pressure if the Bears are just bound to keep on going south at this point to maybe trade him and be able to capitalize on the fact that you are going to have a very high draft pick next year to get a quarterback.
Yep.
I think that is
maybe
your best
maybe
course
two, likely two.
Yeah, because you're definitely going to be playing Bogart this week.
Yes.
At quarterback, so
Badgent,
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Bogart.
Yeah, Bogart. Yeah, I don't know. It's
Tyler Badgent's not Bogart.
Yeah. I don't know. Those names they all just
give him a chance, Chris. He's not that bad yet.
No, but yeah, no. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I do think that they should consider a trade Justin Fields and then maybe put the guy rookie.
I want that for Justin Fields.
That's my thing because I feel like he needs a better situation.
He needs a better situation. He has never been in a situation where he can thrive. No. Where things are put in place for him to excel. It's always been expected that he'll be great. That doesn't happen because people are human beings, Yeah. So for his sake, I hope he gets traded. I'm not thrilled. I'm not I would love it if Fields played the rest of the year for the Bears and the play calling was a little bit better and he plays like he did on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. I would love for that to happen and then him be our quarterback next year when we draft amazing players or get amazing players by trading away. Because I do think that, and sorry for so much Bears talk, I do think that Ryan Poles, minus the Claypool trade, has done a really good job building a roster. The coaching is just horrendous.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I would like to see. I'm with you. I think it would be best to see Justin Fields in just a new uniform in a better situation. And I think one scenario that was thrown out there, I think by the Athletic, is the Falcons. That
yeah, honestly,
that would be fascinating.
That sounds great.
That would be very, very interesting.
I think the Falcons can win their division if they have Fields.
Speaking of the Falcons, Arthur Smith.
I want him gone.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if things continue to get worse for the Falcons, I think he's gone. It's 3 years in, and I think a lot of people are frustrated with his use of very talented players. How Bijan Robinson is on this roster and they still kind of are having a rough time running the ball is beyond insane.
You draft Kyle Pitts and Drake London as high as you do, and you're throwing the ball to fucking Mac Hollins all the time. No disrespect to Mr. Hollins, but come on.
It's been kind of maddening to watch this team play football. All right, next up is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Todd Bowles.
I think if they win the division, he's safe. And he might be safe anyway. If they win the division, he's definitely safe. Otherwise, it might get choppy if he doesn't.
Yeah, I think you're talking. I think at least you gotta win.
Yeah,
eight games.
A very winnable division too.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of these guys. If you're, I think Frank Reich maybe being an exception. I think the Panthers will probably keep him around another year.
For first year with a new team, I think he's safe.
Yeah, I'm not to say that David Tepper has not really been the most level-headed owner, but I think he probably will know better than to get rid of a head coach after 1 year, especially just considering Frank Reich's like past. Like he's had some good seasons with the Colts, and like I think he sticks around. But then then you go to the Saints with Dennis Allen, and I feel like he's in the same spot as Todd Bowles and the same spot as Arthur Smith, where it's just like this is a winnable division. You have a defense that's very good. But you're struggling on offense, which granted is not your forte, but it's still your team, and you still need to win. And do you get rid of Pete Carmichael at that point? I don't know. Like it's just I think all three of those coaches, Dennis Allen, Arthur Smith, Todd Bowles, are on the hot seat, and I think whoever wins the division between those three will be safe another year, and the other two might be fired. Like that. So that is the high stakes of the NFC South.
Yep. I agree with that.
For this year. Next up, NFC East. Eagles. Nick Sirianni, safe. He should be safe. The Cowboys and Mike McCarthy.
Get him out of there. Oh my God. Like, I don't think, like, you know, maybe if he makes the playoffs and wins a playoff game, it's different. But Mike McCarthy is just one of those head coaches it's the absolute Jerry Jones hire. Cowboys fans will not be happy again until Jerry Jones is not the owner of their football team.
Yeah. They need to get to the NFC Championship. I think that feels like the bar at this point
I can see that. With this Cowboys team, they should have been at least in one NFC Championship by this point.
In order to, like, because I think even if they get a wild card, let's say they win that wild card game and they get back to the divisional round,
and then they get blown up by the 49ers again,
then like it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's time. It might be time for a change, and I think the Cowboys should be considering that. Will they? Who knows? But
yeah,
I mean, they did finally do it with Garrett, so it's like I think it's only a matter of time for them to do it with McCarthy as well, because it's now we're entered year 5 of McCarthy.
I saw a video of like a timeout was called. I forget by which team. It would be funny if it was him, but I think it was by the Chargers. A timeout was called, and he said to the ref, it looked like he said, "Why did the clock stop?"
Yeah, there that fucking was it Mike McCarthy that was like he didn't realize he had a couple of timeouts left?
No, he had unless I full transparency, I was not watching the entire game.
No, I don't know about this game. I'm trying to think of earlier this year,
because this game he blew his timeouts with like 12 minutes left in the game.
Oh yeah, that's what happened.
That was last night.
yeah, that's rough. Yeah.
Yep.
Side note, because this is just what reminded me of this. I finally completed watching I watched the entirety of the history of Minnesota Vikings, and then I went back, and then I also watched the history of the Atlanta Falcons. It is I first of all love that the Falcons that John Boyce branded the Falcons as basically the comedians of the NFL. I think that's very good. But second, it was so sad when he was just like, and they hired Arthur Smith to lead this team, and they have some great players. They just drafted an all-time tight end in Kyle Pitts, and then he'll be paired with, and it slowly pans out, and it's Calvin Ridley. I'm like, no. I'm like, oh no. So I'm just like that aged poorly at the end. Yay. But anyways, no, fucking great. I can't wait for us to do. I really do want to do like virtual Bowboys episodes where we just talk about those documentaries, because I don't think we're gonna end up getting this sequel to 20,000.
I was just so sad because that was such a good cliffhanger.
It was so good, and so I like.
We are still asleep like 9 is.
We'll see. I mean, hopefully we'll get it, but if not, then we'll absolutely do a show in the off season where we talk about one or both of these documentaries, because they're fantastic.
The Herschel Walker trade is my favorite, maybe my favorite thing in the history of the NFL.
It's so good, and
especially because he's a piece of shit.
Yes,
and the whole lore of that moment is that Herschel Walker sucks ass.
Yes,
Like
it's really good. It's fantastic. All right, next up is the Commanders, Ron Rivera.
He's on the hot seat.
He has to be, right?
I think he I would say he's pretty likely.
Yeah.
To not be around.
I mean, the only thing that could do it is if he somehow wins this division, I think. That's it.
Which, the Eagles and the Cowboys are.
Right. I guess if there's a playoff berth, maybe, but new ownership, they always like to turn things over. They completely they want to change things. They want to change this up. So yeah, I think this is Rivera's last ride. Brian Daboll,
he's staying.
Man.
I think with last they could chalk this one up to a down year and he'll keep going.
I know, but even when you're watching that Bills Giants game, I am seeing so many signs of Ben McAdoo. Of what ended up transpiring. And you know what? It's even worse because Ben McAdoo, granted, I went over this last time where I'm like, I think Ben McAdoo kind of got a tough rap because of the Geno benching Eli Manning for Geno Smith thing, and that still grinds my gears to this day. But there is a level of arrogance to Brian Daboll that I'm starting to see that he gets so angry at the players and doesn't do anything to just be accountable for himself in these situations, and that is not good. And
not really, no.
And I think the Giants, they're going to be a bad team this year, but more than anything, it's going to be how they lose these games that I think will play into factor whether or not he goes, because if it is that they're it could be one thing that they just keep on losing really close games, or even if they get a couple blowouts here and there, fine, whatever. If they are losing in ways that it is embarrassing to the organization, the ego of John Mara is not going to allow that to continue, and John Mara will fire Brian Daboll. That's my opinion on it. I think I'm with you. I think they probably give him another year. I think last year was hopeful enough, but the same thing was said about Ben McAdoo that year, and look where it ended up. So that's all I'll say on that. Finally, NFC West, starting with the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan. Probably the safest job in the league at this point.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he's
kind of really good at coaching.
Yeah. Same with Pete Carroll, Seahawks. I think he's safe. The only thing I could see him being fired for at this point is retiring. Not being fired. I think he's going to retire as a Seahawks coach. Beyond that, I think he's fine. Sean McVay, I think he's had such a great start to the year. I don't think that he's going to get fired at the end of the year.
No, and his we talked about this with Vrabel earlier. McVay has proven enough that he's a good head coach. The roster just sucks right now.
Yeah.
So if Sean McVay still wants to coach, he would walk away before they fired him.
And here's the thing: does the
roster go into broadcasting?
Does the roster really suck right now?
Not that much.
Not that much. Consider their rookie class is very good. For what they had, there's good signs ahead, I think, for the Rams. So we'll see how it goes. But I think Sean McVay is safe, and I think you just said it. But I think the only thing I could see happening is him going to broadcasting. That's it.
Yeah.
And Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon,
first year
head coach.
Kyler's been out. You can't judge him.
I think this team has been kind of in a lot of these games where I feel like there's enough there for them to give him another year at least, for sure. All right, there you go. That's our takes on the coach carousel. We'll see kind of how these things turn out. At this point, I would be surprised about any mid-season firing. Maybe Eberflus if things get really bad for the Bears. Or
what do you even do?
No, yeah, that's the thing. I think you kind of just have to ride this out. I think McDaniel or Staley maybe. That's I'm thinking that could be a scorched earth type firing for either of those owners. So, yeah. All right. On to the predictions. We had a rough last week, you and I. We went 7-8 each, minus 2 points for each. So thus far, through 6 weeks, Matt, you are sitting at 56-37. 18 points in all. Looking real nice. 50-43 for me. Hate that I'm moving towards 500. It's not great. 6 points. Plenty of season left. We'll see how it goes. And Matt, I want you to have first pick here. So the Jacksonville Jaguars at New Orleans Saints. A actually somewhat decent Thursday night football game. I'm kind of looking forward to this one. Jaguars are on a hot streak right now. I believe this is their third game. They're on a 3-game winning streak overall after a rough start to the year. Saints blew out the Patriots the week before, but then kind of got taken down a notch by the Texans. What do you think is going to happen?
I think that the Jaguars are finally kind of starting to put it together. I feel very similarly about both the Jags and the Bengals, where you're starting to see the signs of like what you expected these teams to be.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick with the Jaguars here. I think that it's not a slam dunk, but I do think that they will take the W.
I'm with you. I'm picking the Jaguars. Feel good about it. I think that they are on the right path. They're just playing very, very good football at this point. Not amazing, but they're getting there.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Las Vegas Raiders versus the Chicago Bears. Bears are starting their backup quarterback due to Justin Fields' hand injury. They did lose to Minnesota. Raiders did manage to have a really weird win against the Patriots. Was still a win. The Raiders could go above 500, which we weren't expecting. Do you think they will?
I think they will, but this also reeks of a game that Josh McDaniels can blow.
Yeah. I mean, we thought that about the Patriots.
That's true.
Game.
And it was close. I think, if I remember. Maybe I'm misremembering that game, but I'm gonna pick the Raiders.
I'm gonna pick the Raiders.
Yeah, it was 21-17 was the final score for that.
Yeah.
Next up.
That sounds so fucking sad.
Yeah, Cleveland Browns at Indianapolis Colts. Browns, of course, coming off of one of the bigger upsets of the year. The Colts, of course, coming off of the rough loss against the Jags. What do you think's going to happen?
I think I'm going to give this one to the Browns. I do like Gardner Minshew, obviously, but, this is a rough defense to go against. Yeah. And another week, how they are right now, I think that the Browns will be able to take care of it.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think at this point it's just getting harder and harder to pick against this Browns defense. They are playing very top tier football at the moment.
Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. Bills had a rough win against the Giants. I saw a take that Josh Allen plays to the level of the team that he's facing.
Yeah, oh no.
Which is really funny.
It's not a good sign for this week.
Not a good sign for the Patriots, though. But the Patriots also have been a really sucky team. Yeah. Will the Bills be able to take care of it?
This was a tempting chaos. This was so tempting. Yeah. Just because of the way the Bills have been playing, it has felt like they have not been the same since Matt Milano went down with an injury, and also the offense has just been. I mean, the defense has still figured out ways to hold up, but their offense has just not been very good, which is not Matt Milano's fault, granted, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I'm gonna pick the Bills, but not feeling good.
Yeah, I'm still gonna pick the Bills here. I think it's fine.
Washington Commanders at the New York Giants. Commanders are coming off a nice victory over the Falcons. Giants, we talked about. What do you think's gonna happen?
Sam Howell's played pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that he could win this game and send the Giants into more hell.
Yeah. I agree with you. In fact, I agree with you so much. I'm going to guarantee it.
Very, very fancy guarantee there. I like
it. In a way that's like, you know what, Commanders could blow this game, but also it's the Giants. Yeah. I don't trust them at this point.
I don't blame you. Atlanta Falcons versus the Buccaneers. Buccaneers coming off their loss to Detroit. who's been a pretty good team, versus the Falcons, who lost to the Commanders. Winner of this, depending on how the Saints do as well, given is in the lead for the division.
It's an interesting one. It's a battle between one team had a pretty solid start to the year but has been 1-3 since, and the other also had a solid start to the year, has looked maybe a little bit more competent, but you got like a Falcons defense that's decent versus a Buccaneers defense that's decent. Two offenses they're still trying to kind of like get really going. What do you think's going to happen here?
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I do think that their loss to Detroit. Detroit is such a good team that I'm not going to hold that against the Buccaneers that bad, and they were 3-1 before their bye. So before their bye and then Detroit. So I'm gonna give it to the Buccaneers here.
Yeah, their only losses have been to very good teams in the Eagles and Lions. So I think they take care of business against the Falcons.
Yep. Speaking of, we have the Detroit Lions versus the Baltimore Ravens. Lions are 5-1. Chris, we are in week 6, and the Detroit Lions are tied for the best record in football.
Yeah.
Versus the Ravens, who managed to take care of business in London. However, have not been the full force that they have been in the past quite yet this season. Who do you think is going to win?
Sanity would pick the Lions, I think, in some ways, but I don't want to believe. I want to believe that this Lions team will not stumble and that they're just going to keep on winning. I just feel like it would make so much sense going into this that the Lions are flying high and the Ravens are struggling, that the Ravens just come in here and take care of business. So I'm going to pick the Ravens, but I really hope I'm wrong.
We got a little bit of a mini fucko here because I'm going to guarantee the Lions.
I like it.
Because, and like when I say, like, they just lost David Montgomery to injury, he's been their main rusher. I don't think that's going to matter. I think that Craig Reynolds, who I put in a waiver claim for, and I'll find out if I can get him tomorrow, backing up Jahmyr Gibbs, hopefully, for the love of God, start using him. And I say this with someone who has a lot of David Montgomery in fantasy. Yeah. I think that the Lions are maybe the second best offense in the NFL, and Jared Goff should be the MVP consideration.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm guaranteeing the Lions.
He has been playing really well.
It's him and Tua. I think that they're the only two quarterbacks who are playing consistently well every single week.
Yeah. It's fair. It's a fair point. It seems like a wild idea, but I think it's a completely fair point at this point.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers at Los Angeles Rams. Steelers are coming off a bye. And the Rams are coming off of a win. Yeah, win against the Cardinals. Yep. Talk about a game that, like, oh, okay, that happened, and like you just kind of forget about it. Anyways, two teams that are kind of in interesting situations. Rams are having a great offensive renaissance, and the Steelers still have a decent defense, but Rams have struggled on defense. Steelers have struggled on offense. So interesting matchups in this game overall. What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to give this one to the Rams, actually.
I second it.
All right.
I'm with you.
Very cool. Next up, Arizona Cardinals versus Seattle Seahawks. The NFC West bird matchup is always mostly a fun time. The Cardinals have been playing pretty frisky.
Sure.
You have been seeing a lot of growth from them and some pretty good play by Josh Dobbs. But Seahawks have had a couple instances where they haven't been able to like close things out, even though they should. Their red zone offense has not been that great. Will that be a factor here?
I feel like the Seahawks loss on Sunday has more to do with the Bengals' defense finding itself a little bit more than it does that the Seahawks are falling apart. I still kind of believe in this team as a very talented operation, and because of that, I am going to pick the Seahawks over the Cardinals.
I'm picking the Seahawks too. I know this is maybe a potential chaos, but yeah, I'll take the Seahawks.
Yeah. All right. The Green Bay Packers at the Denver Broncos. It's been a long time since these two were in a Super Bowl together at one point. And boy, it's a much different situation for both squads. The Packers are coming off a bye, so we'll see if maybe anything has changed for them, if they've kind of just adjusted or going to maybe get better here. They are going against the Broncos, who have still not figured out how to have. They have a defense that played okay against the Chiefs, but that was partly the Chiefs' fault to a certain extent. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen?
I am going to pick the Packers here, as much as it pains me. The Packers. Surprisingly, the best that the Packers have looked so far has been against the absolute garbage Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a ton of hope for them, and I could see the Broncos winning this game. But I'm gonna still pick the Packers anyway.
I'm gonna pick the Packers as well, despite maybe better judgment. But I just don't see it with the Denver Broncos.
Yep. Los Angeles Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We just talked about the vast difference in head coaches of these two. Chiefs have been playing consistently well, although Mahomes, despite Mahomes kind of having a down year for what he's used to, they've been playing a lot of close games, still eking out wins. The refs help a very specific team conspiracy is in full force with them. Do you think that will matter in this matchup?
This is the one chaos that actually looked good on the board. With the only reason why I would even want to consider this, though, is just because of Justin Herbert's existence, and also the fact that the Chiefs have been kind of falling apart a bit on offense. They're fine. They'll be okay. The Chiefs, I'm not sure. I don't think that the Chiefs are going to continue to be bad, but their offense has not really been that inspired, and really they've just been leaning on their defense to play well. They could probably do those things again and easily win this game. I don't trust Brandon Staley, but I'm gonna chaos the Chargers and see what happens.
I also wanted to chaos the Chargers, but I feel like I should change it because we keep chaosing the same fucking teams.
It is up to you. We're early enough in the year where we don't need to keep changing it, but it's up to you.
I'll chaos them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, a lot of similar reasons that you said. I feel like, the Chargers defenses have been actually pretty solid, and Khalil Mack, bless him, is bless his heart, is getting a lot of sacks. So maybe he'll keep doing that.
Yeah. There you go, and then. Now we've officially reached Sunday Night Football.
Thank God, a good matchup.
The Miami Dolphins at the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a big time matchup between two teams that I have just a ton of Super Bowl potential, and we'll see how it goes. Matt, what do you think's going to happen here?
I am the biggest Mike McDaniel fan on this podcast, maybe. I'm kidding. You are also probably a big Mike McDaniel fan. And I think that, the Dolphins have the best. Eagles have been struggling, and the Dolphins have the best offense in the league right now. I think that they'll win the game. Not a guarantee, but I think that it's good.
I'm sorry. Who did you pick? I'm sorry.
Dolphins. Dolphins.
Oh, Dolphins. Yeah. I am going to defer.
Okay.
The Eagles. I think the Eagles have had a good record against the Kyle Shanahan-y offense, and the way that they kind of really took it to the 49ers last year, I think played a big factor in that. And I think that's why I'm going to lean into them. I don't necessarily trust this Dolphins defense to stop the Eagles, even though, again, the offense for the Eagles has also not really been at peak form. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
All right, I like the choice.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we didn't bring this up with the Chargers. Have you seen all the shit about the woman who was like made all those like insane reactions during the game, and how everyone is thinking that she's like a plant?
Right, to like make it seem like, oh, how could the Chargers have any fans? Like,
right.
Yeah, I feel bad for her because I don't think that she probably did not ask for the camera to even be on her, let alone have everyone tell her you are being bought out by the NFL to sit there and pretend to be excited. Like, that's I also wonder if they would be saying the same thing if she wasn't a woman. Like,
also that, yes.
So
it in a little defense, like very exaggerated movements.
Sure, but it also could just be someone excited.
Like she was having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, why does everything like? There's a lot of shitty things in this world. Maybe we just let this one go. It's fine.
Yeah, and on that point too, like I don't trust people who automatically assume that something's a conspiracy theory, because that's a horrible way to live your life.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that is a completely fair way to. I think if you're going to come out present yourself in a way that you're not going to trust anyone, why should I trust you? like if we need to have mutual trust in some capacity when having communication with each other.
Yep. Monday Night Football. San Francisco 49ers coming off of their loss to Cleveland, trying to bounce back against the lowly Minnesota Vikings. McCaffrey and Deebo may play, they may not play. They may not play at 100%. If they do end up playing, will that matter against the 2-4 Vikings?
I don't think it will. I think this 49ers team should take care of business. I look, last time, the one game I'm always going to think about when it comes to these two teams was the playoff game that the 49ers just completely dismantled this Vikings team, and I don't know if they've played since then, but it's definitely been like 4 years since that fucking happened at this point, for all I know. But like I just don't I do not trust this Vikings team to be good enough to really slow down the 49ers in that way. It would be very surprising.
Yeah. I'm picking the 49ers here.
Yeah.
They're a good football team.
I guess, because like to me, like the Vikings don't have the Browns defense. Like that's the thing. Like that's just the big thing is that they don't have the Browns defense. Like, and that alone, I think, was the reason why the 49ers lost in that game. Like, what do the Vikings have that could beat the 49ers at this point? Like,
not much.
Not really much. Like, they don't have Justin. If Justin Jefferson was there, maybe it'd be more interesting. It's not. He's out.
Nope.
So, all right. So, once again, walking away from that convo with 2 disagreements.
Cool.
Overall, Lions, Ravens, Dolphins, Eagles. I went with the home teams. Matt went with the road teams. Very VBBFL of us.
That's very VBBFL of us.
And the guarantees are I guaranteed the Commanders over the Giants. Matt guaranteed the Lions over the Ravens, and we each chaosed the Chargers over the Chiefs. Yeah, again, like I don't think it's a big deal that we both chaosed, because it's just like get more have better odds. NFL, like put more underdogs against Goliaths, so for us to pick chaoses, you know. Don't make it impossible for us either. Don't put the Patriots against the Bills. Like give us a chance here. Put the Texans against the Bills. Then that's a good chaos. That's a fun chaos.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, that's it for this week. Next week is a week before the trade deadline, so we're going to be making our own little trades for what we think should be potential trades for the trade deadline. Well, if they come to fruition, probably not, but it's fun to theorize and throw our ideas out there. But until then, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Virtual Ball Boys podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.
Good night and good ball.